Now we've come to the end of this journey of ours. As you will see right now, this is basically the consolidated high level summary. You know, so each company, their 3 year averages for each metrics. You will see this metrics, it's a high level summary, but it does kind of give you a rough idea of where companies should be performing in line with the industry and in line to each other. It's a high level comparison, because you will see an example is that you need to basically use it in line with the individual analysis that we did. The individual analysis will provide for you a better picture than this actually. And an example of that I can give you that stands out is that the margin, the industry average is 1%. That is just no, that's unacceptable. I mean, Meta, Alphabet, Twitter, Baidu, and Weibo should not be trading anywhere near that. Twitter should not be trading anywhere near that either. But as we discovered, Twitter is a disappointing child. It's as disappointing as disappointment you can get. But it should not be trading at that kind of average margin. So that's the industry average. Another example could be for R&D. The industry average is 23%. However, Alphabet is like 16%. But we know Alphabet has big returns. It has a liquid cash flow, least amount of risk. Its operations do generate a stable cash margin, and it has sufficient cash flow. Whereas if you go to Baidu and Weibo, they might spend more on R&D, still also below the industry average, but above Alphabet, but are not performing as good as Alphabet. You look at the fact it has increased risk, solid liquid current ratio, look at balance sheet, but increased financial risk, declining margin in the case of Baidu, inefficient cash flow in the face of Weibo. So this just gives you a rough idea of how each company should be operating, and I use this. I used a lot of them, in my division analysis, just as a rough idea of how the industry should be operating. But for me, more value is given to the individual analysis because the individual analysis gives you a bigger picture. Because one would look at Alphabet and say, "Oh my goodness, it's not spending that much in R&D. It's not that good. It's not growing revenue in line with the industry." No, no, no. If you look at the individual analysis, it will give you a bigger picture that it doesn't need to achieve that because it's already more profitable, more of a stable company than companies that achieve it or exceed it. Alphabet is a better company than Pinterest and Snap. So it's just a high level overview, just gives you an idea of where companies should be operating, what's normal, what's not normal, what should companies be operating at. Now, I just want to bring attention to this. Now, Baidu I didn't like, Weibo I didn't like, Pinterest I didn't like, Snap I didn't like, Twitter I didn't like, but I did love the story of Twitter. I want to keep a hawkish eye on that. So Twitter for me, I put on my I wouldn't buy it yet. I still want to give that CEO, the new CEO, I want to give the new CEO time to implement and communicate his vision sufficiently, and I want to see that vision in practice before I put a single cent in Twitter. So I'll put it on the watch list, but I won't buy it yet. But the two companies I was a really big fan of is Meta and Alphabet. Baidu, it's trading at a 21 multiple. Not bad, not bad. But I mean, as the individual analysis, we discovered it's not really a good performer. Weibo almost 30. I mean, it's trading at the same multiple as Alphabet, and it's not as efficient and not much of a shareholder rewarding tool as Alphabet. So no. Pinterest and Snap too risky for my view. Snap's valuation is just insane. So looking at these two, Alphabet rewards me more. and I'm paying a lot more in terms of multiples. However, Facebook was a bit less, and I'm paying a bit less. However, I love the Meta. This this message is really, really, really growing. Meta. Company formerly known as Facebook, Meta. Meta is only trading at 27 multiple. And for me, I love Meta. I mean, I still love Alphabet. I think it's a good company. But I love Meta just a bit more because Meta is trading at a very, very attractive level. I love the level at which Meta is trading at. It's trading very, very low. It's a very good company. It's growing rapidly. I love the diversification into other revenue streams. You know, the fact that it wants to move away from just being an ad-based revenue service provider company, and it's moving more towards consumer electronics, streaming, gaming, commerce as well. And I love that. However, you need to consider, the effect of Apple's new iOS system upgrade, to software upgrade. I think you will see with Snap, that system upgrade, the privacy upgrade, so the privacy upgrade to iOS had a big effect on Snap's ability to generate revenues. It kind of knocked it down a bit. It also had the same negative impact on Meta, but Meta is so big, like now Meta is trying to find out ways, and it's diversifying into ways where it can keep you on its platform, so where you can do everything on its platform. So it's trying to reduce the effect of that Apple iOS privacy update, which will have a significant effect on these social media companies. These companies that are basically driven, whose revenue is basically driven by ads. Twitter has been very good in actually mitigating the effect of that. But it has written in its financials for 2020 that they are monitoring that effect. But so far, they have responded best from your metas and your snaps to that privacy update. It has affected it. It has affected Meta really badly, but not that badly because Meta is recovering. It is trying to find ways to reduce its reliance on the Apple software. That even if the Apple software makes it difficult for it to generate data and sell that personal data to advertise and make more revenue, it's trying to find ways to mitigate the effect of that system upgrade, that operating system upgrade, and basically continue to thrive and grow. So I do love its resiliency. I do love its diversification, even though it's in political hot water with the fact that some of its platforms have been found to be bad for humans. It's still used. Nobody's gonna blame their Facebook or their IG or WhatsApp. They're still gonna use it. So I love it. I love it. You know, almost everybody in the world. You can just imagine. People Facebook can target is about 5.6, 5.7 odd billion people, excluding China. Of that 5.6 billion or so, 2.6 billion use the Facebook family or the Meta family apps. Oh goodness, that mispronunciation jar is really filling up. Use it. So basically, roughly about half of the world uses Meta family apps. That's very good. That is incredibly good, and it is on top of that diversifying its revenue base. So on that, Meta is a bit cheaper than Alphabet. Alphabet is still a strong company. If I owned Alphabet, I wouldn't sell it. It's still a strong company, but I prefer Meta. Meta is my investment of the week. It just offers more value for money. Alright, well guys, thank you for joining me. Join me again next week where we will be discussing the semiconductor industry. Thank you.